is going around out there that Cuffy is a rat, that he ratted on somebody in order to get the homicides of government witnesses, which carry the death penalty, reduced down to not even life in prison, but to 27 years where he gets an out date.
A lot of people who are big Meech fans and some people who may be foes of Cuffy, they keep saying, yo, Cuffy old and mad and bitter, he locked up.
Yo, Sean, pull down the paperwork on Cuff. Pull down the paperwork on Cuff. You know, pull down the paperwork on Cuff. He ratted.
The big Meech Cuffy Gatling situation is still a highly debated topic on the internet. If you have not been keeping up with the latest, Sean G, who has been reading from the docs, has been accused of being biased by internet onlookers, with most claiming that he is running a smear campaign. In a shocking turn of events, on Monday, February the 24th, Sean G uploaded an earth-shattering video where he would make the claim that third-party cooperation does not exist in the Northern District of Georgia.
Point blank and frank, there is no third-party cooperation in the northern state of Georgia. Now, I need to apologize to everybody out there because I think my very first video that I did on this case, when I was just coming off of what I was hearing, right? Didn't know what I was talking about. I came out and I said that, did Meech do third-party cooperation? I even put that in the description title. This is the very first video because this is what I heard from everybody else. So I need to apologize for that, for speaking something that I didn't know nothing about. I was wrong, period. Did Meech do a third-party cooperation? That answer is absolutely not.
This video would obviously spark a response from Eon of the DC Blacks, who would upload a video proving emphatically that third-party cooperation does indeed exist in the Northern District of Georgia, as well as other surrounding jurisdictions.
What's up, what it do? Today, it was brought to my attention. I got several questions about third-party cooperation. And I really feel like we'd have talked about this a whole lot of times, dealing with this Demetrius Flannery, BMF, Dion Gatlin. Shout out to Cuffy. Shout out to St. Louis, free Cuffy. I think we'd have talked about this a lot of times. I mean, and that's cool because, I'm covering content and I like to read law. I like to understand the law. So let me explain something to you. And this is not me taking a shot at nobody. People keep asking me about third-party cooperation. I spoke on third-party cooperation some time back. So the person came at me and said, yo, I thought you said they do third-party cooperation. People say that it's not done. Once again, I'm not talking to anybody specifically. I'm talking about the truth. They do third-party cooperation in the Northern District of Georgia. I'm going to show you that. Now I'm going to read to you a case. And I'm only going to read to you the background of the case. Everybody not interested in reading a whole bunch of law, this case, that case, this case. But this case is a case out of the Northern District of Georgia. And it's a case that specifically identifies third-party cooperation. And it shows you that the judge reduced the person's sentence. All right, this is where I'm coming from right now. I'm coming from U.S. versus Hubbard. Hubbard, okay? Case number 09-12474, all right? This is an appeal from the United States District Court for the Northern District of Georgia. Northern District of Georgia. Remember, it's been a big old topic on the internet today about the Northern District of Georgia does not do third-party cooperations. I'm telling you that it's not true. I'm telling you that that is not true, and they do third-party cooperations all the time.
Sean G would, however, come back to clean it all up, as he would drop another video addressing the entire situation.
Yesterday, I made a mistake. And it's wrong for a couple of reasons, and I'm gonna go through them with you right now, right? So yesterday, I did a video and I said that Big Meech did not do third-party cooperation because the Northern District of Georgia doesn't allow it. That is wrong. And let me tell you how. This is how I was wrong. Because third-party cooperation is allowed and done in other jurisdictions across the country. Now, whether a particular U.S. attorney decides to utilize that as a means to get a prosecution, that's on them. But if they're able to do third-party cooperation in Montana or third-party cooperation in Arizona, then they could do third-party cooperation in Rhode Island, they could do third-party cooperation in Alabama, because it's a federal system, it's not a state system. And I've since, somebody has sent me information that expressly shows that they have done third-party cooperation in the Northern District of Georgia.
Even with all of this, sparks will still fly back and forth, with supporters of Meech stating that Cuff is actually the rat and not Meech. This in turn will lead to me uploading a 30-minute video that revolves around Cuff, where the feds themselves are documented as stating that Cuff ran a very sophisticated organization, one in which they could not penetrate, specifically pointing out that Cuff could never be caught on the phone or making an actual transaction. The only way that they were able to tie Cuff to any crimes was through confidential informants. Link to that video and the paperwork is pinned in the comment section. One of the most erroneous and outlandish things to be said in regard to Cuff was that he debriefed and snitched on 2 murders, hence the reason for him not being convicted of murder. If you know anything about the law, Cuff was never convicted of murder. Cuff was charged with ordering the murders of 2 men. Being charged and convicted are 2 entirely different things. Federal prosecutors often claim a conviction rate of over 95%, but this figure can be misleading because it doesn't account for the many cases that are resolved without going to trial. Federal prosecutors have a strong case before arresting someone, and they consider any conviction on a multiple count indictment to be a win. Key words: any conviction. The overwhelming majority of defendants in federal criminal cases not go to trial at all. About 89.5% plead guilty, while another 8.2% have their cases dismissed or at some point in the judicial process plead out to a lesser charge, according to the data from the Administrative Office of the United States Federal Court System. As what would be the case with Dion Gatling, aka Cuffy. St. Louis, Missouri's U.S. District Judge Rodney W. Sipple sentenced Dion Lamont Gatling, aka Cuffy, 53 years old at the time, of St. Charles, Missouri, to 27 years in prison. According to court documents, Cuffy was the leader and organizer of the Gatling Drug Organization. The organization bought heroin, coke, methamphetamine, and other drugs to the St. Louis area for distribution from 2009 to 2014. In his case, Cuff waived the indictment and pled guilty to counts 1 through 5 of the superseding information, pursuant to a plea agreement which provides as follows. At the time of sentencing, the parties will jointly recommend to the court that an appropriate sentence be imposed upon Cuff as 27 years. An aggregate of 324 months of imprisonment as follows. As to counts 1, 2, 3, and 4, the narcotic trafficking charges, the parties jointly recommended that a sentence of 10 years be imposed. And as to count 3, discharge of a firearm resulting in death, parties jointly recommended that a consecutive term of 17 years be imposed. It was noticed that Cuff fully understood that the parties are jointly recommending an aggregate sentence of 27 years. Additionally, the plea agreement contains the following appeal waiver. The U.S. Sentencing Guidelines total offense level agreed to herein, and after determining a sentencing guideline range, sentence Cuff within or below the range. Then, as part of the agreement, Cuff waived all rights to appeal all sentencing issues other than criminal history. In similar fashion, the government waived all rights to appeal all sentencing issues other than criminal history, provided the court accepted the plea. The agreed total offense level and sentence Cuff within or above that range. Both parties reserved the right to appeal any determination of Cuff's career offender status. At the change of plea hearing, the district court questioned Cuff and confirmed his competency to enter the plea agreement, waive indictment, and enter his guilty plea. Cuff confirmed that he had read and understood the plea agreement and had reviewed its terms with his attorney. The district court reviewed the terms of the plea agreement with Cuff on the record. Cuff confirmed that he understood that the parties agreed to jointly recommend a sentence of 324 months imprisonment, and that he agreed not to appeal his sentence pursuant to the terms of his appeal waiver. The pre-sentence investigation report calculated Cuff's guideline range to be 360 months to life. Neither party raised any substantive objections to that calculation. At sentencing, the parties requested that the district court impose the jointly recommended sentence of 324 months imprisonment. Cuff confirmed to the district court that he agreed with this request. The district court stated under the totality the circumstances that they will give effect to the plea agreement negotiated by the parties and found that the sentence satisfied the statutory purposes of sentencing. Accordingly, the district court imposed the agreed upon sentence of 324 months imprisonment, consisting of 124 months on each counts 1 through 4 to be served concurrently, and 204 months on count 5 to be served consecutively to all other terms of imprisonment.